Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla, and for today's video, we're going to be going over my debt-free journey update, year 4. This is the third time I'm doing this style of video. I did it first in June 2020, and then again, June 2021. The reason I do it in June is because I started my initial debt-free journey in June 2018. Obviously, I didn't start that YouTube channel back then. I didn't start this until 2019. So that's when I started, in 2020 is when I started actually doing these 1-year updates from when I actually started my journey. And I just think they're really cool to look back on. Now, to be honest, my goal when I started paying off my debt in June 2018 was to be debt-free by April 2022. So we are past that. I was supposed to be debt-free by now. I was supposed to be investing, saving for a house, having a bigger emergency fund, all these things that I had planned out and hoped for. And obviously that's not the case. I am closer to being debt-free, but it feels very far away still. And we'll get to all the numbers in just a moment. But yeah, I was even watching my 2021 update, so my 3-year update of this debt-free journey and just my financial journey in general. And I was saying like, oh, by the next time I film this video, I really hope to be completely debt-free, because I kept setting like a closer goal as well. I wanted to be completely debt-free in 2021. And then I was like, okay, it has to be April 2022, because that's when I initially set that, that was my initial goal. And we're just not there because life happens, and I will go through everything, my big expenses over the last year. I will link the other videos where I talk about all of those things from like that year. Yeah, and I'm hesitant to say this, but hopefully the goal this time for sure, I will be 100% debt free in June 2023, by June 2023. So hopefully before then. And in that video, I can give an update, or you'll at least see, my debt-free day before then. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with my debt. Let me start by saying that I had in June 2021, I had $36,000 of student loan debt left. That was the only debt I had. That is still the only debt that I have, because I'm still at $36,000 of actual student loan debt, because they're in forbearance and at 0% interest still. It's been over 2 years of that, which has been really helpful, because before this journey I was paying, thousands of dollars in interest. So it has helped a ton with that. And I've been saving for that student loan debt instead. I've been saving in high yield savings accounts, so that when the time comes when I do have to make payments, I will make a lump sum payment. And in the meantime, I've been gaining interest on that money saved. It's not, hundreds and thousands of dollars, but it's $8 here, $10 there. So it really starts to add up, and then it compounds on itself. So every little bit helps, and I'm not losing any money. I'm actually making money by saving instead of actually paying down my debt. But that's what I've been doing, since this whole thing started. So in regards to savings for my student loans, in June 2021, I had $3,623 saved. So if I had applied that to my debt, I would actually be at $32,377 total of debt. And this year I had, and this is all like the last day of May, first day of June type of situation. Now I have $17,013 saved. So over the last year, I have saved $13,390 for my student loans. That's good. That's pretty good considering all things, but I said this in my last update, like it doesn't feel like enough. It feels so slow. The time is going so fast, but this journey is incredibly slow. And if you're on your debt-free journey, if you've ever been on one, then you know what I'm talking about. Being on this for 4 years sucks. Like, it's not fun. And I know that there's things you can do to speed it up, and I try my best. That's why I have side hustles and all these things. And I know I could like take on a second job, but I do know my priorities, and I honestly don't want to sacrifice a lot of my time to do that. So I know there are people who can pay this off faster. But this journey feels really long, and only $13,000. I won't say only, because that's a decent amount, but it felt like more, But the other thing is I was applying money to other areas too. So every year I'm investing, every year I'm saving my emergency fund. I have all these expenses, which I'll go over. So that's pretty decent progress within a year. That's over $1,000 a month. I guess on average it's like $1,100 per month that I've saved. And yeah, so 17,013 is what I have saved, and if I applied that to my student loan debt, I would be left with $18,987. And the cool number, this number I like to look at, if we compare that to what I started with from the very beginning, so June 2018, where I had $82,200, I had credit card debt, my car, obviously my student loans, I owed my sister money, all these things. That was $82,200, and now we're down to $18,987, and the difference there is $63,213. That's not bad. That's insane. So $63,000 in 4 years. Some years had better progress, and it's, definitely over the last year things have slowed down, but that's still a decent amount, and at this rate I should be debt-free by June 2023 because I have $18,987 to go. Yeah, but that number is pretty huge, $63,213. It's sad to look at, like it's such a great accomplishment, but it is hard to grasp, like that money. If I had that money invested, if I had that money in cash to buy a house, like there are so many other things that I could do with that money, and instead it's gone to debt, and this is just what, my total debt decrease. This doesn't include how much I've actually put to my debt, like with all the interest, because that's probably, over $75,000. I don't even know. I would have to go back and look at everything. Maybe one day I'll do that. I'll do that when I actually pay off all of my debt. Once I'm completely debt free, I'll look back. I have been keeping track of how much I've been able to pay every single month, and that will include the interest, and that would be interesting to look at. Also depressing, but interesting. Now, in both of my previous updates, I shared the big expenses that I've had over the last year. So from last June until now, and this kind of explains where a lot of my money went. And the biggest area that I spent money were health and beauty expenses, primarily health. Some things were not necessary. I got like acupuncture, that was a couple grand. I was going to a holistic doctor, which was very expensive. I had like my colonoscopy and all this. And if you don't know, I had a ton of health issues in 2021. I had a couple of surgeries in 2021. I ended up being diagnosed with Crohn's disease in October 2021. I also had markers for Lyme disease in 2021, so I had to go through treatment for that. Everything was very, very expensive. I had good insurance, but I was doing, I was going to a holistic doctor, but also like just Western medicine, a typical doctor. My GI, my surgeon, all these things start to really, really add up. So I spent $8,800 from, this is about what I've spent, $8,800 from last June until now. Some of that does include beauty purchases, so that's like my skincare or some shampoo, conditioner, or vitamins, supplements, yeah. But a big chunk of it is all the tests that I had to undergo, any of the procedures I went through, medications, and that's a big chunk of it. I've really wanted to slow down on my health and beauty expenses, but it's just not going as planned, really. At this point in my life, my health is definitely a priority, so even if there's something that's more expensive, but it's good for me, I am okay with spending money on that, because me sacrificing my health for debt is not worth it. I've definitely learned not to do that, and you should not either. The next biggest spend area is personal. That was about $2,250 in the last year. I would have to go back and look at everything that I spent money on. I would say some workout clothes, some regular clothes, maybe some, books, plants. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at everything that I spent. I wouldn't say that's too bad. It's not perfect, obviously. Like, I don't know. That's not horrible. For 1 year, $2,250 on like personal things, that's better than I was before. Next biggest area, travel. So I went to Vegas, Arizona, and Utah last year. That was in July. I only spent $500 on that trip, and then that we went to, my boyfriend and I went to Hawaii recently, a couple of months ago. That was about $1,500 on my end, so $2,000 total over the last year on travel. Definitely worth it. I you know, if I could travel more, I would, but that is something that I enjoy doing, and I think it's worth it to spend money on that while I'm in debt. Next would be my dog. So one of my dogs, and to explain things, I do have a foster dog now that is not related to any of this, but my sister and I, we used to live together. We used to foster dogs together. We ended up foster failing on 3 dogs, which are now our dogs, but she has a house, so they live with her, and she primarily takes care of them. So I send money to her every single, it's like child support, but for our dogs. But on top of that, last year, one of my dogs got sick, and we had the surgery, her surgery in June, I think, of last year, but even after that, like, she was good after her surgery, and then a few months later she got really sick again, and ultimately ended up, we had to put her to sleep. It was awful, but a lot of that, you know, costs money. We had to take her to the vet a few times, so that was a little over $1,000, I would say, over the last year on dogs. Probably more because of, like, we got pet insurance and stuff, but yeah, about $1,000 there. Next thing is taxes. So I did end up this year, I had to pay taxes, which I've never had to do before, like a large chunk, over $800 toward taxes there. I ended up I made the mistake in, you know, for my 2021 quarterly estimated taxes, I wasn't paying taxes for those M1 finance referrals, which was like almost $5,000. And yeah, so because of that, I ended up owing a lot more than I expected to, and had to chuck over $800 to the IRS unexpectedly. And then the final category are tech upgrades. So I got a watch, Samsung watch, and a GoPro with like some accessories. So that altogether was probably like $600, $700. So I would say those are the biggest expenses. And then of course, everything else sprinkled in between there, the groceries, the food out, gifts, other savings, barely any car maintenance. I've been putting money toward my emergency fund. Like, saving is a big chunk, of course, as well. Outside of my student loan debt, I put $600 every month to my emergency fund, and even more to my sinking funds, like buying a new car in the future and saving for a MacBook and all that stuff. So yeah, that's a summary of my big expenses amongst everything else. Okay, and then the next big area, and I guess really the last thing, is my net worth. And I think this number is really exciting, and always is. So in June 2021, my net worth was at negative $13,439. So yeah, we were negative, and as y'all know, sometimes over the last few months, I've been figuring out like how I want to calculate my net worth, and I had made corrections to 2021. So this is with the corrections. And just a side note, I do not count my car in my net worth. Just, that's personal preference. A lot of people tell me like, you should, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to. I don't see that as like, I just don't see that as part of my net worth, because I would need to sell it to profit from it. That's my opinion of it. I prefer just to count like the cash that I have, my investments, everything of that sort, because my car isn't worth anything unless I sell it, and I need my car. So that's just how I do it. If you want to include it in your net worth, that is perfectly fine. But this negative $13,439 is the correct calculation. It does not include my car, just investments and cash. Okay, and now my net worth, as y'all saw in my recent update, was at $10,568, and this is positive. I didn't hit a positive net worth until December 2021, which is definitely a huge milestone, at least for me, and that was one of the most exciting things I have ever felt. So we are over $10,000 now, and if we take that difference, I have gained $24,007. So that's pretty good. I know last year when I gave this update, I had gained like over $30,000 in my net worth, but that was also because just when you pay off more debt, it goes a lot faster, especially debt that's accruing interest. But also the market was doing a lot better in the summer of 2021 than it is currently. And going along with that, I can share that in 2021, the total savings that I had, so this includes my student loan savings, my emergency fund, and all of my sinking funds, I had $10,820. And now I'm at $27,142, and that's in cash. This is in my high yield savings account. That's really good. That's exciting. I have never had so much money And to see, what is that? 10 to almost $20,000 increase. It's like $16,000 higher, $17,000 higher now. And that makes me happy. Seeing that number is pretty crazy. Like I knew I would get to this point, but seeing that I actually have over $27,000 in cash alone is pretty incredible. And it feels good to know that this is what I've worked toward. And as I said, I knew I would get to this point. It just definitely felt really, really far away. And I know that I'm going to continue to do better and have this be higher. And then back in 2021, I had $8,210 invested. So this is between like my Roth IRA, brokerage account. At the time, I did not have crypto. This was like some other random stocks because of referrals, I'm pretty positive. But the bulk of it was my Roth IRA and my brokerage account with M1 Finance. And now the total amount that I have invested is $17,860. So almost $10,000 increase there. Now I have quite a few more things. I am invested in crypto now. I do have my 401k now. The largest chunk of this is still my Roth IRA, but the market is down. So I would expect this to be higher based off of like what I've put in, but because of the market, yeah, clearly we are down a little bit, but that's really good. Almost $10,000 increase there. And again, I'm happy with that. I know that my goal for 2022 was to have $25,000 invested, hit that mark, and that I think I'll get there. We have over 6 months left in the year. And I think by then, obviously it depends on the market as well, but I'm gonna at least get close to that. And that feels really good. I did mention in my last video the subscriber count that I had for this channel. And at the time it was like a little over 5,000 last year, June 2021. And now I am about double that. So over the last year, I've gained like 5,000 subs. I saw a big jump in December, January, because a lot of people were coming back to my like no spend year and all of those videos. And then I saw another bigger jump in March. Whenever my CNBC video went up, I think I gained like 1,000 subscribers from that. Subscriber count doesn't really matter, but it is cool to see your growth. The most important thing in regards to like earning money from YouTube is views and like retention rate, the ads that I put on, not that I put on, but the number of ads and videos, if people actually watch them or not, if people actually watch my videos all the way through and all that stuff. So yeah, just thought I would share that because it is cool to see that I have doubled my subscribers. So thank you to y'all for being here and subscribing, supporting me. It's incredible to have this platform. I always look back and think of how grateful I am for starting this channel, because I was hesitant about starting it because I already had a channel. So I'm like, this is gonna be a lot of work. Is this just a phase for me? Like, am I gonna even be able to profit from this, or is it just gonna be a waste of time? And it definitely has not been a waste of time. I love documenting my journey. I love seeing everybody else's journey. I've been more motivated because of this. I've increased my income because of this. I've increased my opportunities because of this. So I definitely recommend, if you are on the fence, I say this in quite a few videos, but if you're on the fence about starting a YouTube channel, just freaking do it, especially if it's about finances, because it's a big area. Now, I don't make like, hundreds of thousands of dollars, not yet anyway, but it's still very helpful and supplements my full-time job. That's it from the last year. I know in my other videos, I went over some other things, or just I broke things down a little bit differently, but watching that, I was confused as to why I even did that. So hopefully this video was a little bit more streamlined. Decent amount of progress. I'm happy to say that I've paid off $63,000 in 4 years. And I think I said this in my last video too, but especially with my CNBC video, there was some negativity that came here or on that video, where people were saying like, how do you make X amount of income? Like if I'm making $60,000, $80,000 a year, whatever, how do you make that amount of income but you still have debt? And it's not just like I can put all of my money to my debt, and I don't get why people can't grasp that. I know y'all watching probably don't think that because you understand, but I do live alone. I had some health issues. I paid a lot for that. I paid for pets, all those expenses, everything adds up. So I can't just put like 80% of my income to my debt. Yeah, I would be debt free if I did that, but I have other expenses, and that is life. I guess I should say that the biggest thing that has happened since then is that I've transitioned careers. So I was a microbiologist this time last year, and now I am a Salesforce analyst slash consultant, and I have videos on that. So I was able to make that transition in about a year, and I can link those videos down below where I talk more about that. But my income hasn't really changed or anything. Back in June 2021, for 2021, I made about $80,000 total. And this year I'm on track to do about the same, probably 85,000. The goal is to make a lot more from my side hustles, but from my full-time job, I'm expecting about 66,000 plus like the 401k benefits. But yeah, I can't forget to mention that because that was a huge change in my life and something that I kind of hinted at in my previous update. So it is really cool to see that, like, everything came full circle and it did end up working out. The program I purchased paid off, and here I am. So that's been my journey over the last 4 years. Please comment down below when you started your financial journey and how much progress you have made since then. I would love to see it. It is super motivating when y'all drop your numbers. Again, as I said before, June 2023, I will give another update on this, and I want to be debt free. Like, I am, it's got to happen. It has to happen. It will happen. If you're on this journey with me, just hang in there. I know it is tough. I know it is long, but we will get through it. Thank you all so much for being here and supporting me. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.